Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into an article a listener sent in all about managing anxiety, naturally, without medication.
Right.
Those feelings of worry and fear that can really, sometimes take over.
Yeah, it's incredibly common.
Mm-hmm.
And what I find really interesting about this article is it takes this approach of understanding your own anxiety.
Okay.
Like it's a roadmap rather than a one-size-fits-all.
Okay, let's unpack that a little bit.
Yeah.
So it starts off talking about how anxiety shows up in our lives. And we've all been there, right? Like
It's
that racing heart, that pit in your stomach feeling.
Yep.
But the article kind of goes a little deeper and suggests it's almost like detective work.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It emphasizes this idea of pinpointing your own personal anxiety triggers.
Totally.
Because what might set you off might be different from what sets me off. And this is where the article suggests.
Okay.
Keeping a journal can be really helpful.
Oh, interesting.
Tracking those emotions and what causes them.
So imagine if you start to realize, every time I scroll through social media before bed,
Oh, yeah.
I end up, tossing and turning for hours.
Yeah.
That's powerful information. That's like, aha.
Exactly.
That's a trigger for me.
Exactly. And that's where something like cognitive behavioral therapy can come in.
CBT?
Yeah, CBT. Think of it like retraining your brain
Okay.
to respond to anxieties differently.
So it's not just about masking the symptoms.
Right.
It's about giving us tools
Exactly.
to manage it.
Exactly. And speaking of tools, the article dives into some fascinating natural remedies.
Right.
And I think one that many people are probably familiar with is chamomile tea.
It's very calming, yeah.
It's very calming. But did you know it might be a good swap for that afternoon coffee
Really?
to avoid those late-day jitters?
I am a coffee addict, but
It makes sense, right?
makes sense.
Yeah,
The article also mentions other herbs, too, like lavender, valerian root.
absolutely.
I've definitely seen those, too, in those sleep aid teas and things like that.
Yeah,
Is there a connection there?
absolutely. They can actually improve sleep quality, which has a huge impact on anxiety levels.
Wow.
And the article doesn't just stop there. It even suggests checking your pantry for things like magnesium and B vitamins.
Okay, so we're talking
Yeah.
anxiety-fighting snacks.
Yes.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting for me, I have to admit. Aromatherapy.
Okay.
I have to admit, I used to think essential oils were a little woo-woo, but then
You actually looked into the science.
maybe you're reading my mind.
Okay.
But seriously, the article talks about how scents, like bergamot, can actually trigger changes in brain activity leading to a calmer state.
It's amazing, right?
How cool is that?
It's fascinating how connected our senses are
Yeah.
to our mental well-being.
Mm-hmm.
Eucalyptus, for example, is known for promoting relaxation and clear thinking.
Oh, wow.
So imagine using that during a stressful work session.
Instead of reaching for another coffee.
There you go.
Okay, I'm seeing a theme here.
With that.
Finding those natural swaps for things that might be contributing to anxiety.
Exactly. And the article doesn't just stop at calming scents or supplements.
Mm.
It goes a step further, suggesting practices that connect the mind and body even more deeply.
You're talking about those holistic techniques?
Exactly.
Things like meditation, breathing exercises.
Yes.
I've dabbled in those, but the article seems to suggest they're not just for yogis anymore.
Not at all.
Yeah.
It highlights techniques like the 4-7-8 breathing method.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, this very simple practice.
Mhm.
Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8.
Okay.
Can actually stimulate your vagus nerve,
Wow.
naturally slowing your heart rate.
It's amazing how such a simple
I know, right?
can have such a profound impact on our bodies.
It really is.
It's like a secret weapon against stress.
Exactly.
But I'm curious.
Yeah.
The article doesn't just focus on those calming techniques, does it? It mentions diet too, right?
It does, and this is where it gets really interesting.
It mentions diet too, right?
It does, and this is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
The article talks about how what we eat directly impacts our anxiety levels.
Okay.
It's not just about feeling good physically.
Right.
It's about feeling good mentally, too.
Okay. I'm intrigued. Give us the details.
Okay.
What kind of foods are we talking about?
Well, the article highlights the importance of omega-3 fatty acids.
Okay.
You know, those healthy fats found in things like salmon, mackerel.
Mm.
They're not just good for your heart.
Mm-hmm.
They're also known to support brain health and potentially reduce anxiety.
So adding more fish to our diets could actually help calm our minds.
It could.
I'm all for that. But what about the flip side?
Yeah,
Are there things we should be avoiding?
absolutely. The article mentions that high sugar foods and excessive caffeine can sometimes exacerbate anxiety.
Right.
It's about finding that balance and being mindful of how different foods make you feel.
It's like becoming an investigator of your own well-being.
Exactly.
Paying attention to those subtle cues your body gives you.
Absolutely.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. Herbs, essential oils, breathing techniques, even what we put on our plates.
We have.
But the article dives even deeper into this idea of mindfulness, right?
It does, and it emphasizes that mindfulness isn't just about meditation.
Okay.
Although that's definitely a part of it.
Right.
It's about bringing awareness to the present moment throughout your day, which can be incredibly grounding when those anxious thoughts start swirling.
I can see that when you're caught up in worry. It's like your mind is just stuck in overdrive.
Totally.
Mindfulness is like hitting the brakes and saying, okay, let's pause, let's refocus.
Exactly. And the article provides some really practical techniques to do just that.
Okay.
One that stood out to me was the body scan meditation.
I've heard of that.
Yeah.
Is it literally just like mentally scanning your body?
It's as simple as that.
Wow.
You sit or lie down comfortably.
Okay.
And you bring your attention to each part of your body, starting with your toes
Okay.
and slowly moving up to the top of your head.
Okay.
As you scan, you notice any sensations, any tension, any tightness, and you just observe them without judgment.
It's amazing how powerful it can be to just acknowledge those physical sensations and allow them to be there without letting them take over.
It's like hitting the reset button on your nervous system.
I love that.
And speaking of resetting,
Yes.
the article doesn't just talk about meditation. It highlights that crucial link between sleep and anxiety.
Okay, sleep. Now you're speaking my language.
Right.
I'm all about a good night's rest.
Me too.
But how exactly does sleep impact our anxiety levels?
Well, when we don't get enough sleep, our bodies go into a state of stress.
Okay.
Our cortisol levels spike.
Right.
And that can lead to feeling more anxious, more on edge.
That makes sense. When I'm sleep deprived, even the smallest things just seem overwhelming.
The worst.
So the article emphasizes the importance of a good sleep routine, right?
It does, and it's not just about the number of hours.
Okay.
It's about the quality of sleep.
Right.
The article suggests establishing a regular sleep schedule, creating a relaxing bedtime routine, avoiding things like caffeine and alcohol before bed.
It's like setting yourself up for sleep success.
Exactly.
And I love how all these natural approaches seem to work together.
Yeah.
Better sleep, mindful eating, stress-reducing techniques.
Yeah.
It's holistic.
Precisely. It's not about finding that one magic solution.
Right.
It's about embracing a multifaceted approach.
Right.
And finding what works best for you.
And speaking of finding what works, the article delves into some other intriguing modalities for anxiety management.
Okay.
Things I wouldn't necessarily have thought of.
Like what?
Like acupuncture.
Oh, interesting.
Acupuncture, as the article explains, is an ancient Chinese practice that involves inserting thin needles into specific points on the body. I have to admit, needles aren't really my thing.
I hear you.
But I'm open to learning more. So
I understand.
Go on.
And while it might sound intimidating, it's actually a very gentle and painless experience for most people.
Okay.
And studies have shown it can be remarkably effective in reducing anxiety symptoms.
Really? So there's actually scientific evidence to support it?
There is.
I always thought it was more of a mystical or spiritual practice.
Yeah, there's a growing body of research suggesting that acupuncture can help regulate the nervous system.
Wow.
Reduce stress hormones like cortisol.
Okay.
And even promote the release of endorphins, those feel-good chemicals in our brain.
Okay, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
So it's not just some woo-woo placebo effect.
Right.
There's a real physiological explanation for why it works.
There is.
I'm starting to see how acupuncture could be a valuable tool for some people in their anxiety management toolkit.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we'll add that to the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth considering, especially if you're open to exploring different modalities.
Okay.
And you know what else might surprise you?
What's that?
The article also highlights the benefits of massage therapy for anxiety.
Massage. Okay, now that's something I can get behind.
Right.
Pure relaxation.
It is relaxing.
But how does it actually help with anxiety?
Well, it's not just about relaxation.
Okay.
Although that's definitely a bonus.
Right.
Massage therapy, particularly styles like Swedish massage or aromatherapy massage, have been shown to reduce levels of the stress hormone, cortisol.
Okay.
And when cortisol levels go down, anxiety often follows suit.
Makes sense. But it's more than just hormones, right?
Yeah.
I imagine the physical touch, that human connection,
Absolutely.
can also be incredibly grounding and soothing when you're feeling anxious. It's like a physical way to soothe the nervous system, like when a friend gives you a hug and you instantly feel a little calmer.
Exactly. It's about calming the nervous system, releasing muscle tension, and promoting a sense of overall well-being. And, when we feel physically and emotionally balanced, we're better equipped to handle those anxious feelings.
Right. Makes total sense. Okay, so we've got acupuncture, massage,
Oh,
all these amazing techniques, but the article also touches on something surprisingly simple, yet powerful: gratitude.
yeah.
I'm curious about how that plays into managing anxiety.
It's about shifting your perspective. Instead of focusing on what's causing you to worry, gratitude helps you to zero in on the good things in your life.
Okay.
The article suggests it can actually rewire your brain to be more optimistic over time.
I love that. But let's be real. When anxiety is swirling, it's hard to just flip a switch and be grateful.
Yeah.
Any practical tips?
The article talks about gratitude journaling.
Okay.
Just taking a few minutes each day to write down things you're thankful for.
Okay.
It could be something as small as a sunny day or a delicious cup of tea.
Right, like the little things.
Exactly.
I can see how that could really shift your mindset over time.
Yeah.
You start noticing and appreciating the little joys more and more.
Exactly. And gratitude isn't just about journaling. It's about expressing it to others, too. Remember the power of a heartfelt thank you note.
Oh, yeah.
The article talks about how that simple act can boost both your mood and the receiver's.
It's true. Writing a thank you note always makes me feel good. And when you feel connected to others, anxiety feels less isolating, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. The article really drives home the importance of a strong support system.
Yeah.
Surrounding yourself with people who uplift and inspire you. And not just receiving support, but giving it too.
That's a good reminder. Helping others takes the focus off your own worries and creates those positive connections.
Precisely. And I think that's a great note to end on. This deep dive has explored so many paths to manage anxiety naturally.
Yeah, it really has.
Herbs, aromatherapy, CBT mindfulness techniques, even acupuncture and massage.
It's amazing.
It's about finding what works for you.
It's like we've created a toolkit.
We have.
And you can pick and choose the tools that resonate with you most.
Absolutely.
It's very empowering. So to our listener, remember, you are not alone in this journey. Experiment, be kind to yourself, and don't hesitate to seek professional guidance if needed. And above all, keep diving deep into those natural approaches to well-being.